Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the SmackDown Hotel, the upper tiers SmackDown show where we review SmackDown. I've said SmackDown way too many times in that sentence, but that's what we're here and that's what it's all about. We're going to be going through SmackDown, the ups, the downs, what happened, was it any good, has it been as consistent as it previously has been? Um, you may have noticed Emma looks completely different.
Short
Um,
hair this week and a beard.
Unfortunately, Emma can't join us this week, but she will be back. However, my man Keith has stepped up and stepped in, so I'm delighted to have Keith on board. Keith, talk to me. How are you? How was your day today?
Grand, good day. I was in town today, so got to see Niall and just ventured around town for a bit. Got some nice little goodies and got to meet your beautiful self.
I appreciate that. Well, I will say this: you were in the HQ, the upper tier HQ, being Wrestling Mania third floor, Stevens Green.
Yeah,
Now, what we'll do is we're going to get stuck into SmackDown. We're going to talk about a couple more things as well, like the new 2K game, how they're covering the Attitude Era, and we might have one or two other things to touch on as well. Before we do, very quickly, let's take some comments. Sharon, good to hear from you. It was absolutely lovely to spend time with yourself and Anto today at the Fight Factory Pro Wrestling Show. It was absolutely phenomenal. Anto, how's it going, my man? Great to see you as well. I'm sorry, Keith. Emma looks better. This is from Anto. Keith, Keith. I wouldn't take that. That's all I'm saying. uh, Barry, as always, what's the crack, my man? Great to have you on board. So what we'll do is, like I said, we'll get stuck into SmackDown. Now SmackDown opened with one of my favorite wrestlers, but he often doesn't go down well on Pro Wrestling Weekly. There's two people that typically cheer from on Pro Wrestling Weekly. That's myself and normally my co-host Emma. But one man that doesn't cheer for him is my co-host tonight, Keith. Keith, SmackDown opened with a promo from Sami Zayn. How did you think it was? What did you think of it? Talk to me about that.
so I thought, to be honest with you, I thought the opening was actually pretty good. I actually enjoyed it. It was an interesting opening, and I like how they're building Trick Williams. They're doing a very, very good job, and as well as that, I feel SmackDown this week was a lot better. To be honest with you, I quite enjoyed it this week. And as well as that, like it doesn't take that much really to beat Raw, does it? In fairness, lately, but
Wow.
well, it's a true statement. Let's be honest. But no, good opening. I have a theory though about this, no pun intended. That I kind of feel this is going to lead to a WrestleMania match. Now, I don't know yet. I personally think out of the Fatal 4-Way match, I think Randy's going to win that. So that's just me.
Okay.
But what I think this is going to lead to either Trick Williams facing Priest at WrestleMania, or it could maybe Sami Zayn, but maybe it's going to be Priest, I'm thinking, for WrestleMania. This is the season they're planting, I think.
Not a bad shoot. I mean, look, they could go in any direction at this stage. However, whatever's been leaked, they're so predictable at this stage. The rumor has it Sami Zayn's going to be in the title picture in around Elimination Chamber or WrestleMania, but not a bad theory. And to be fair, it wouldn't be a bad thing to see, because like this, we'll address this on Pro Wrestling Weekly, but every week Sami gets a lot of stick. He's too good in my mind. I really liked how SmackDown opened, and again, I have to agree with you. The way they're building Trick Williams is just a superstar.
Yeah,
everything from the music to the promo, the man doesn't get lost in the shuffle. He just goes in and he says it as it is.
And I think it's given him a bit of a lift. The NXT people have given this show a bit of a lift as well. Do you know 100%. What I mean? Like,
yeah, look, SmackDown got the injection that it needed, and now, like we said, it's a switcheroo. SmackDown is better than Raw at the moment. There's no debate. It's not even close. SmackDown is a much better show than Raw. And there was a period of time when we were doing the show where the best match on the card was always going to be the US Championship Open. And I'm not saying that wasn't the case today, because to be honest, it probably is. But even at that, the show has picked up. Obviously, does, as we all know, any regular watchers of the show, there's going to be a part of this show that I'm not overjoyed about involving the way it's
part that is.
But we'll touch on that. Keith, I have to ask you, Randy Orton came up on a promo next. Doesn't he just seem fired up I think, like he said, this is the year of the Viper. And to me, Randy Orton seems fired up, which is exciting. It's good to see that. Look, I say this every week. We don't have long left with Randy Orton. And what we're getting with him at the moment is absolute fire. And it was incredible. Absolutely incredible. So come here. What did you think of there was a segment backstage? By the way, it's a good time to point out that in the first hour of SmackDown, there was one wrestling match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this, like obviously you've said it's one of the better SmackDowns, and I've seen people say that online, and there was only one wrestling match, which was just interesting to see. We had a bit of a Carmelo Hayes and Dragunov little section, and Dragunov is a beast, but the Miz got involved here.
I have a theory about this as well, but go ahead.
No, I want to hear your theory because I'll tell you why. The Miz was brilliant here, and he said something. He said something really cool. He says, "You know what I don't like? I don't like the way everybody likes each other around here. Back in my day, that didn't happen. You don't have to like your mate. Well, you do have to like your mate, I suppose. Otherwise, I'm not your mate. But you don't have to. You don't have to like the wrestler you're going up against. I really want the Miz to start winning. Now, I'd love to hear your theory.
Now, look, I think this is going to turn into a triple threat match down the line somewhere. Now, I don't know if it's going to be Elimination Chamber. I don't know if they're going to hold it off and make this a big burnout until WrestleMania. But this is all seeming to leading into a triple threat with the three of them because the way the match ended, it looks like it's going that direction, personally.
I would agree. I think Miz is going to get one of them anyway. I think he might even go through the two of them, but I do hope it ends with Miz with the US title. Because the Miz is not going to get another main event title. He's probably not. No. So give him the US title. Because remember, when the Miz was the IC champ, he was the most, like again, I'm stating his catchphrase, he was must see week in and week out. The promos, that promo against Daniel Bryan on Talking Smack alone, but even the promo against John Cena and Roman Reigns in the ring, genuinely one of the best promos I have ever seen. And he was dead right. It's often said that the best thing about a bad guy is when they're talking, they're telling the truth.
But that's the beauty of Miz, you see. Miz, he can't put him face. That's the thing. He can never be a face. He has to be a heel. He's so good on the mic. And like I always think, I said this to Dave before, I think when he retires from the ring, he should be a manager because I think he'd be a quality manager.
Well, I suppose that begs another debate, and I guess we'll bring it up on Pro Wrestling Weekly. Is there any room for the manager anymore? Obviously, Paul Heyman's the argument against that, but Paul Heyman is 1 in a million. But in general, and unless you've got a Paul Heyman, because anybody that's a manager on the roster is probably going to be compared to Paul Heyman, and it wasn't always like that, because back in the day when I watched wrestling, you'd Mr. Fuji, he was much different than Bobby Heenan, who was much different than Jimmy Cornette, and so on. So, are we reaching a stage where managers won't really matter in wrestling? So by the time the Miz retires, which again we probably don't have long left with the Miz, will managers still be a thing?
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
No, I don't think, because there's always some wrestler out there that needs a manager, that needs a voice, that needs someone by their side. Do you know, like, because there's always going to be someone. I think the way it is at the moment, they're so reliant on Paul Heyman, and he does such a magnificent job. Do you know, and what he does, even though he doesn't really say to himself that he's a manager, he's an advocate, but he does a stellar job. But no, I really do think down the line they do need to keep the manager thing in the WWE.
Well, look, he's the role of the manager. You know, you can call it what you want. You can call it the house painter. It doesn't matter. He's the role of the manager, and that's it. Yeah. Obviously, it led to the match. Dragunov getting a rematch against Carmelo for the US title. To me,
fantastic match.
Yeah, like this match don't miss, as Mello would say. I thought it was brilliant, and like you said, it should lead to the Miz going up against either one of them, and I think we can both agree.
Yeah,
probably best match on the card. I think anyway.
Yeah, it was one of. In saying that, I did enjoy the women's match for the number one contenders, but the outcome, I would like to hear yours, but we'll get to that.
Alrighty. The next thing that happened was the Cody Rhodes interview. So before we get into the Cody Rhodes, because it can be divisive, let's take some comments. Before we go in. So Dave's in. Hello, Dave. What's the crack? How was Fianna Fáil? I'm only messing. How was Fight Factory Pro Wrestling? It was amazing. There will be a review video up on the channel. It was bloody brilliant. It was a family show. For anybody that doesn't know, I was watching local promotion Fight Factory Pro Wrestling. I went to their, well, not local, I went to their hometown of Bray, and they're absolutely amazing. The future of Irish wrestling is in great hands with Phil Boyd and Katie Harvey. She was one of the stars of tonight, a diamond. Mila Grace, as always, absolutely phenomenal, and some of the up and coming male roster, incredible. So yeah, I'll definitely touch on it in a little bit. Sammy is amazing, says Sharon, and she is also shocked that, oh my God, you said something positive about Sammy. Let's see if he's still positive by the end of the show, because he slaps one of his boys, as we all know. Anto's in. A bit of Trick Willie. Willie? Oh, yeah, he did say that. Willie. Yeah, he's a proper superstar and well deserved. I completely agree with you, Anto. Randy is one of my favorites. He's lethal. Randy's going to be one of the greatest of all times. All the times. I was like, I was like, what's his name again? I had it in my head there a second ago. Randy Orton says Dave is all over this year, and may it continue. Sharon's in. I say Randy wants to do a lot this year. He's heading to retirement fairly soon. It's a sad time when he does. WWE SmackDown was Grand Slam. Deadly Chris, good to see it. Keep up coming in. Great to see you. Acers is in. What we need to see, I love when Acers comes in. What we need to see is Trick Williams turning bad guy on Carmelo Hayes, setting up WrestleMania 42 US Championship match with Powerhouse Hobbs as Trick Williams' bodyguard. Why isn't WWE needs to give this man a job? Because there was a great review of Unreal on the upper tier done by Keith. Watch Unreal. They could do with you, Acers. You're spot on, because Unreal is to the WWE what Netflix overall is to the American police. Made them all look like donkeys.
They should have kept his name, Powerhouse Hobbs, or East Hobbs or something. Not that stupid name.
Started on that name. Miz deserves better than what he's getting, says Dave Kelly. Dave, I'm 100%. Chris is in. I'm ready for Saturday night main event tonight. Well, Chris, I'll be watching it tomorrow. I'm banjaxed. I've been out all day. So tomorrow morning will when I'll be watching it. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a wrestler and wanted Mr. Fuji as my manager. Yes, Chris, quality. I would have went with Heenan, to be honest with you, but not a bad choice. I also wanted Father. I wasn't a fan of James Mitchell. That's the truth. I really wasn't a fan of him. I thought he was forced, and honestly, I can see why he had some good accolades, but I thought it was a very forced. Now, their first match was much better than this one. I agree that their first match was better, Racers.
Still a good match, though.
It's still a quality match. Drew McIntyre is my favourite. I don't blame you, but don't mention the war from 2 weeks ago when he beat my favourite. My favourite being Cody Rhodes. CM Punk is my favourite too. Quality. The Cody interview with Jacob interrupting was another Cody cutter. Says Anta. Well, we're just about to get into that. Just a couple more comments from Chris. Lady Grey is my Battle Babe. I've never heard of Battle Babe. I don't know what that is. WWE is making them as a joke. I totally agree with you. Chelsea Green is my favourite. She's phenomenal. I don't hate AEW, but I gave up watching AEW when CM Punk and Cody Rhodes left. Chris, you might be onto something there, but Dave might have a thing or two. Tune into Pro Wrestling Weekly, right? I think we're going on Tuesday. Come in and say that exact statement. In fact, we'll bring it up to our AEW correspondent, Dave. CM Punk for President 2028. I actually think it's going to be The Rock. Right, let's get into it. So, Keith, Cody Rhodes interview. Jacob Fatu interrupts. What did you think of the interview? Now, we know I'm going to like this interview because Cody Rhodes, as always, was phenomenal here. What did you think of it? Because I know you probably look at it a bit more objectively.
At the start of it, before Jacob came into it, and it was Michael Cole and Cody Rhodes, I thought it was a bit too stagey for my liking. Okay. Just for that couple of minutes, I thought it was a bit too stagey. But then when it came in, then you kind of got a different aura and a different feel when Jacob Fatu comes in. I love Jacob Fatu. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's great. You know, the man is just a superstar. Do you know what? The thing about it is, look, when it comes to Cody, I don't mind when he's facing someone like a Jacob Fatu when it's not with the title. That's my biggest gripe. I had this discussion with Dave today. It's the title that bugs me because he's been in that title scene for the past how many years now? 4 or 5 years, has it? Something like that.
Yeah.
It just needs a bit of a freshening up. I just want to see someone different. Do you know? That's what bugs me, and I know you probably think differently. And
well, can I say something about that? Because
yeah.
you said something similar about Rhea Ripley, and now, if I'm not mistaken, you want to see Rhea Ripley back in the title scene, and she's
No,
only
well,
been
not
away from it for
necessarily.
a few months. Did I pick that up wrong? And if I did, I'll take that on the chin.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. What I mean by that is I want to see her face Stephanie Vaquer in a match. Even if it's not for the title, I just want to see those two face each other because to me that's like a dream match for me. I would love to see those two face each other. That's what I'm saying. I still stick by that. Do you need to give other superstars some opportunities? The likes of if it's the women's like a Tiffy or like a Lash Legend down the line or God knows who. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to keep seeing the same superstars over and over because it just gets repetitive and stale.
Yeah. No, look, fair enough. I disagree with you on Cody. I just think he's the perfect good guy. Do I think he should turn bad guy eventually? Abso-freaking-lutely. When the time is right. I don't necessarily think the time is right.
Now,
I
Brent, can
think
I ask you a question here? Sorry for interrupting you. Since you're a big Cody fan and I respect you for it, but my question to you is, do you see Cody going heel either this year or in a year's time?
okay. It's a great question. It's something I think maybe this year, but maybe towards the end of the year. So maybe, yeah, I'm giving you two answers now. I'm giving you the political answer. The
Yeah.
John Cena answer. I may as well have said, well, the Northern Lights were in Finglas one day, and then the next day they were back in Iceland. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I may as well have given you a political answer there. Look, I don't know. They need to pull the trigger. I would say pull the trigger soon. I think at the moment he plays such a good guy. Do you remember Cena? Everybody was like, Cena needs to turn bad guy, but at the time, kids were queuing up and they
Mhm.
absolutely adored him. And I guess it depends on the demographic that they're going for. I would like to see, I'd like to see Cody continue as a good guy, but I wouldn't mind if he went bad guy either because he can do it. He's a brilliant bad guy. Imagine he
So,
dyes his hair black one day, comes out in a suit and says, you know what? This isn't for me. American Nightmare, my arse.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But I think if he turns heel, you have to have that baby face. Now, the problem is to help the company, you can't have a Roman because Roman is not there at full time, unfortunately. I think eventually down the line, make that a Braun Breaker down the
Well,
line if
look,
that's what happens.
Acer's just came in with a comment there, and he's dead right. WWE won't turn Cody Rhodes because of merchandise sales. And Acer's is dead right because the reality of it is WWE are focused on money at the moment. And
Yeah,
I think that's why it's probably they took too long with the Cena turn because he was making too much money. And maybe that will happen with Cody. I'd like to think they're a bit smarter, but then again, I've seen some episodes of Unreal. So after I seen that, I
so
had
what you think
little
they're not
faith.
really focusing much on the matches, is more so they're just focusing more on the merchandise sales.
Not just well, I think it's very obvious that the WWE are more concerned about viral moments than actual proper, very well told story. And
Yeah,
I think, look, you're going to bring it up in a few minutes when we're done with SmackDown, but let's address it now. Triple H saying that we shouldn't criticize the product is ridiculous. It is
100%.
absolutely backward. Of course, we can criticize the product.
Yeah,
Um, you know,
you're paying your hard-earned money to go see them.
but
Do you know?
but like that, does the money factor, but also as well as a fan, as somebody who not only puts money towards it, who's watched it all of his life, of course I can have an opinion. Telling
Yeah,
fans they can't have an opinion is backward. And to me, it's Vince McMahon cut a promo once, a very short promo. It was just before he gave Hulk Hogan the title shot, and he said something along the lines of, "I don't give a damn what anybody wants because I know better than you what you want." And to be fair, at the time, he was right. He gave it to Hulk Hogan. I was like, that's it. You're right, Vinny. That's spot on. But I think that's his attitude now, and it's wrong. It's so wrong, and I think they should be listening to us more. Come here and I tell you, this is my one of my biggest gripes, and I'm bitter over this against the WWE. Don't don't leak something in September and then continue through and then give it to us in December. What was leaked, bit by bit, story bit by story bit, and then continue to give it to us, and then call us idiots for
But
pulling
do
them
you know
on
what they
it.
should do there, Bren? But I'm thinking, since you're saying it, and you hit the nail on the head there, but what they should do is, since we found out that the whole of WrestleMania has been scrapped, what they should do is try keep that a secret now as much as possible, and not fucking
But
leak it as much, because that's what they
I
need to
know that.
do.
I
Do you
know
know?
that, and I've been saying it every week. People are probably sick of, like, when I start talking on these podcasts, people are like, "Oh, Jesus, Brent's gonna say that thing now. We're about the leaks," and I'm that pissed off with it. You're dead right. It should not be leaked. And also, as well, just on that Unreal show, for anybody that hasn't seen Keith's review or anybody that hasn't watched it yet, if you think that Unreal is real in any way, you're crazy. You're
Yeah,
absolutely nuts. Everything is situated and put there for a reason. They had a board with a list of possible matches on it last year for WrestleMania. That was put there for a reason. They knew
and
they were being
SummerSlam.
filmed. 100%. They knew they were being filmed. They knew it would get people talking. And that's what I'm talking about, Keith. They don't care about story as much as they do viral moments anymore. Because, and merchandise sales, which goes back to why they shouldn't turn Cody bad guy. But man, I could do a whole show about this. I could do a whole show about this. But look, overall, you thought the Cody and Jacob thing was good. Does it excite you about Cody versus Jacob?
The match itself, I think it'd be a good match, but I think it's going to be a DQ. To be quite honest, I think Drew's going to come out, and I think it's going to be a DQ. That's just me.
Maybe not Drew. Maybe somebody else. Sharon reckons you just hate Cody so much that's your opinion. This is through weeks of watching, Keith. It's not just Sharon saying it. ESPN are saying it too.
Oh shit! Well then, Jesus, we're getting noticed, then, Bren.
I don't hate Cody Rhodes. No way. Liv and Roxanne Perez will win the women's tag team belts tonight. Not a bad show. Acers is in WWE because of merchandise sales, which we know. We'll do a couple more comments before we go on to, well, Jade Cargill. We'll touch on that now in a second.
Oh, yeah, Jesus.
The Rock is not liked in Hollywood. Well, he wasn't nominated for the Oscar, Chris, and The Rock should have been nominated for the Oscar, but the Oscar historically snubs good actors, particularly, like, remember Mickey Rourke played the wrestler. I suspect he was going to win it that year only for he was in WrestleMania, but that's just me being a conspiracy theorist, I guess. Anto's in. Look at what they say. I think them going back to Roman Reigns is a bad idea. I'd rather anyone else win the Royal Rumble, like Breaker, for example.
Can I just touch on that for a second?
I'd like you to touch on that. Go on.
The Roman Reigns thing, since that got spoiled, well, not got spoiled, but they came out on SmackDown saying he's going to be on the Royal Rumble. Why could you not just kept that as a surprise? And no, we all know he's going to be there, but you know what I mean, like.
It wouldn't have mattered. I think my issue with that is that if Roman Reigns wins the Royal Rumble, we're in trouble. And the reason I think we're in trouble is because it was leaked that he was going to win the Royal Rumble in December. And that's another leak come to fruition, and they can get absolutely effed. And I showed Brent today the massive price difference between the shows here and the US live shows. So Anto's going to a live SmackDown in St. Lauderville or something like that in February. And there's a massive difference in prices, man. You should have seen it. Big difference. Where I would have paid hundreds for or my sister would have paid hundreds for a SmackDown ticket. Like they paid a quarter of the price. I'll support WWE even if it's I'm not over. I don't know about that, Chris. I am Alex Jones and Joe Bags of Wrestling Opinions. It's good to have you on board, Chris. The element of surprise is totally gone, Sharon. I agree with you. And Anto was
not
in.
Necessarily. I don't really agree with that because look what they did with Seth Rollins last year at SummerSlam, and none of us really expected that.
Right. What does Niall say? One swallow doesn't make a summer.
Oh, 100%. But they can, if they want to do it, they can do it. That's the problem, you see. Do you know?
If something is leaked, it should be turned. And he said, Anto, I agree with you. They're one of the only companies in the world, one of the only shows on TV in the world that can change direction like that in a second. They've done it before. they can do it again. David Kelly's in. WWE are not in touch with the fans, and that always been a problem. You just touched on a classic example was Jey Uso. They put a rocket under him when the momentum behind him has been and gone. Yeah, there's no argument there, my friend. It's very simple book, and Triple H shall go all out. CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre versus Reigns, but Triple H will go with the safer option of McIntyre versus Cody and Punk versus, I assume you mean, Roman. The Rock is always a treat. Chris, I agree with you. As soon as The Rock, and anybody can turn around and say, "Oh, Mr. Hollywood, piss off, don't show up." Dave, that's not a shot at you.
It's well, Dave.
It's not a shot at you, Dave. It's genuinely not. But the fact is, his music hits you're jumping out of your seat. There's no doubt about that. I don't like that. CM Punk will be WWE champion for a long time to break Hulk Hogan's record. Chris, I don't know. There's rumors he's going to lose that belt sooner than expected. CM Punk versus Braun Breaker, Elimination Chamber, Seth Rollins to return. Seth Breaker Rollins for WrestleMania 42. Maybe. I'm strongly thinking of looking into Saudi for WrestleMania next year. Sharon, not a bad idea. We gauged some of the prices of what they were charging for the Rumble, and it's definitely more value for money. TNA World Champion Mike Satana should be at WrestleMania this year. I don't know, Chris. Maybe the pre-show, if I'm honest with you. But we'll see. So, back to SmackDown. We're going to go straight to Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green, one of the best female wrestlers on the roster at the moment. But is she being treated like that at the moment? She obviously tried to recruit Jordynne Grace as to one of her, what did she call it again?
Bodyguards or something.
Yeah. And basically, Jordynne Grace was like, well, I'll walk down with you. So this led to Jade Cargill versus Chelsea Green, who also had people at ringside, including Jordynne Grace, who walked down with her. Anyway, it was a quick, short match. Not good.
It was
Didn't do anybody any favors.
She's so sloppy in that ring, Bren. Like it's really tough to watch her in that ring. Like, don't get me wrong. Look, she has a fantastic entrance. She has a fantastic look. She has the charisma, but she's just lacking so much in that ring. And I really feel they need to just pull the plug with her and send her down to NXT or do something with her, because it's not working at the moment. It really isn't.
Yeah, look, it was poor. I think the initial thought was initially, I should stop saying initially sometime soon. But I think the initial thought was basically to have Jade Cargill set up as a Goldberg type character. But like that, there's just no fluidity when she's in the ring. Nothing. No. The moves don't make sense. Keith, it'd be like me and you going out the back now and putting on a wrestling match and just basically, right, I'll do a suplex done. Okay, yeah. I'm going to stand up and just do a fist drop done. It's not making sense.
No.
My thing is, give that belt to Jordynne Grace. She can work.
Would you give it to her sooner rather than later, or would you?
100%. She's ready. 100%. Jordynne Grace has been ready for years to do this. I'm fully confident in Jordynne Grace because I've been following her career. She's absolutely brilliant. So give it to Jordynne Grace.
Can I just touch on Chelsea Green for a sec? Like, I feel so bad for her because she has such a great personality. She has a load of charisma, and she plays a good character as well. But it's obvious when they showed it on the Unreal. Now, I don't want to spoil anything, but it goes to show that WWE doesn't really see her as a top star. And it's really sad because I think she has the potential to be one of them, but I know not everybody can be a top star, but I just think she's fantastic. I love watching her. I think she's great.
She has everything to be a top star. She could be a top star tomorrow. Well, what probably end up happening with her maybe is the Daniel Bryan effect, the Bryan Danielson effect.
Well, that's what Jey Uso or something, yeah.
No, yeah. Well, the fans are going to get behind Chelsea Green so much that she'll be undeniable. That's what happened with Bryan Danielson. He became undeniable. And I think, they need to treat her a lot better. In saying that, Chelsea Green doesn't mind. She's often said in interviews, yeah, okay, I lose a lot of matches, but you know what? People love my character. They get behind me. She's not going to be short a few quid, like ever again, because the fan base she has is phenomenal. She signed to my knowledge, a really lengthy contract was the rumor anyway. I'm not worried about Chelsea Green, but I do agree that she should be treated a little bit better. Her secret Hervis is the thing I couldn't think about a second ago. Um, I do think they should elevate her soon enough, though. You know what I mean? They can keep that character and still make her world champion.
Just
Not a
add a
bother.
little bit to her, like, is it?
Well, I'll put it to you like this: there'll be more aura and oomph around Chelsea Green still, no, being WWE champion than Jade Cargill. Unfortunately, Jade Cargill has the look. She has everything, the entrance, the look. But as Bruce Pritchard always said, or used to say on Something to Wrestle With, and then the bell rings. And then unfortunately, when the bell rings, if you can't cut the mustard, get out of the ring, hit the road, Jack, and don't come back. I don't know why I said that.
And she's
But I
god
meant it.
awful on that mic as well.
Yeah, she's pretty bad. So I think, look, the quicker you give that belt to Jordan Grace, to Jordan, the better. So a sad part of the show for me. Let's touch on it. I may as well get this out of the way. I should have opened with this, but I'll tell you my true feelings on it now in a sec. The Wyatt Six lost against the MFTs. Obviously, there was somebody got a smack of a lantern behind the referee's back. Great way to end the match. Great lackluster way to end a lackluster feud. Not that I don't even think the feud has ended. I reckon that this feud will probably go into WrestleMania Saudi next year. The way they're going, absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. They really need to let that go, I think. Look, obviously, I'm a big fan of the Wyatts. However, I can acknowledge at this stage, the Wyatts they need to hit the refresh button. I said it a few months ago when me and Noel were talking about it. They need to go more Cape Fear than anything else, more reality based, more messed up than anything else. Because the hokey stuff, because they have the entrance, they have all the mystique behind us. Now we just need the raw execution where people are literally afraid of them. Like, remember Kane when Kane first came in, the mask,
I was
7
terrified
foot
of him.
tall.
Yeah.
Who wasn't? And he was
Yeah.
like he seemed legit. That's the kind of thing we're looking for. None of this kind of like cut a weird promo every now and again. Give us something. Give us something a lot better. Give us something stronger. With the Wyatts, they need to be more evil and have more intent. More intent. None of this kind of like all that
Do
stuff.
you think the reason why they're keeping this storyline going is because the WWE have no idea what to do with them after this, and that's why they're keeping it going?
Look, I think WWE don't know what to do with the tag team divisions at times. You know what I mean?
Well, they're doing a stellar job with the women's, I have to say.
Well, that came to mind, and like they've proven that they can do a good job with tag teams, but unfortunately, like there's a lot of great tag teams that they could be using, and they could have proper tag team matches, but it's just not happening. It's like the tag team division is like Sunday Night Heat. It's back in the day. It's like, yeah, just stick them on.
Or
Squad,
metal.
stick them on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not. It's not great at the moment. So, look, I hope this is the end of the feud. Although I doubt it is. I think it will continue. But in saying that, just give him back his bleeding lantern, will you?
I think Niall, Niall, Jesus, fuck's sake. Brian,
People always make that mistake. People are you Royal, the owner of the wrestling shop? No, that's not me.
I think, look, I want this to end, but I personally think this is going to go as far as WrestleMania. I can see it going as far as WrestleMania, to be quite honest with
Saudi, or probably beyond that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's getting ridiculous.
Do you think? No, here's a question for you. Since they lost that title, and I was watching it when they lost that title, do you think that has kind of like tarnished the Wyatt Six over that losing the title now?
No, I think they were tarnished before that, to be honest with you, because I got to a point where I found it difficult. Because week in, week out, I would defend the Wyatt Six. I would be like, "No, Noel, you're absolutely wrong. Keith, you're wrong. The Wyatt Six are phenomenal. They're brilliant. They have something there, but unfortunately, what they have or what they could potentially have is not being acted upon by WWE Creative. And now, because of Unreal, we now know why. You know what I mean? It's like the creative team. If they were bored and they were parakeets, they'd fly backwards. Like, do you know what I mean? They're just.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Look, creative it's obviously not the easiest job in the world, but man, they could do so much better, and they have done before. You know, they should be creating stories, obviously not equal to the Bloodline stories, but as strong as them. And I think the Wyatt Six has the characters to do something special with it. But unfortunately, they've watered it down that much that I suspect the Wyatt Six thing is probably over. I think they'll appear every now and again. They'll become the boogeyman of
and then they
the new
eventually
boogeyman,
released or something like that down the line. Do you think?
which isn't good. And I think they floundered it. They absolutely floundered it. You know what I mean? So we'll take some comments before we go on to AJ Styles. Chris, the TNA champs at WrestleMania this year. I'm not sure. Sammy to win the Fatal 4-Way. Interesting, says Bonkers. LFC. Interesting. Sammy to win the Fatal 4-Way. A lot of people are saying Randy are going to win it. Chelsea Green is being treated unfairly. Chris, I think we agree with you. WrestleMania 43 tickets will be quadrupled prices because The Rock versus Roman Reigns is booked. Ashers, are you sure about that? Because there's rumors, and again, I'd lean in towards to what you just said. Other than the rumors are saying they're going to run Steve Austin and The Rock back again.
Do we really want to see that though? Like,
I don't know, to be honest with you. The kid in me wants to see it, but I mean, I guess the logical adult in me is saying, "Whoa, calm down there, brother." I'll take Chelsea Green over Monet anytime. Chris, I will take.
Anybody would.
She's the worst female wrestler of all time, and look, people aren't going to agree with that, but over the most overrated, not the worst. I'm sorry, not the worst. Jordan needs to get off the belt off Jade. I totally agree with you, Sharon. Absolutely. I would have been quite a fan of Jade. Me too. I think Jade has all the right tools, but unfortunately, she doesn't use them that well. Keith, I agree with you about Chelsea Green, says David Kelly. I think she deserves the top spot. David, I believe that was me that said that. Actually, no, you said it as well. Yeah, I would give it to Jordan. The belt, he means the belt. Wyatt are lacking something, and they're not even spooky or scary. So Bonkers LFC 3067, I agree with you. They need that. They need that kind of Cape Fear kind of thing. If you don't know what that is, like anybody who hasn't seen Cape Fear, look at it. Look at Robert De Niro. They need that kind of madness about them, and unfortunately, they don't have it. Chelsea Green will get a massive pop in the women's elimination chamber match in Chicago.
She got a pop there on SmackDown,
and it's going to continue, and it's going to get bigger. Yeah, they need to break up Sokia Solo and the band of merry bastards, says Sharon. Wyatt Six could do with David Finlay as their leader. I don't know, Acers. I think they're watered down enough. The MFT stands for. Oh Lord, Anto was not a fan of the MFTs. I'm not going to say that. But what happened to Tonga and Nakamura? They had a segment for nothing. Yeah, Bonkers LSE. That's a great point, actually, because we're going to touch on that now in a second about AJ Styles being called to SmackDown. Was he literally could he not just have called him and said, "Here, listen, why did you put your career on the line?" Like that, it seemed like he got a flight over to see Nick just to be like, "How are you? I seen Raw the other week. Yeah, Grant, do you want to fight Nakamura? Okay, we'll give that. Give Nikki Cross a damn wrestling match. Damn straight, Bonkers LFC. 100%.
When was the last time she actually had a match? Jesus.
But I know she's doing college stuff as well, so I don't know. Chelsea losing the US title to Julia was as bad as Chelsea has more charisma. I totally agree with you. Right, let's get into the rest of SmackDown. So the whole AJ Styles scenario, I'm happy that he's getting Nakamura. I think, look, Saturday night main event had 3 matches. They were always going to add a 4th, and this match won't miss. What do you think?
I think it's going to be the match of the night.
100%. But do you think this is a clear indication that AJ Styles is hanging his boots up?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Triple H doesn't want to extend his contract to WrestleMania and further on.
Well, I mean, I think, but I do think he did say a few months before any of that came out that he's retiring next year anyway. So, I'm sure if AJ wanted an additional 6-month extension, he could negotiate it. And I'm sure they'll give him.
Personally, I know I agree with you 100%. Like, I do agree with you. But what I'm saying is that, personally, I don't think his last match should be against Gunther. I don't like this whole scenario, what they're doing with Gunther and ending everybody's careers. Personally, I think his last match should be against Finn Balor. That's just me. I think that's a perfect way, in a WWE stance, perfect way to finish off. And then if he wants to go to TNA, and then finish his career then properly. But right now, I think they're not really giving him the right treatment as a. How long's he been there? 10 years now. Yeah, 10 years.
10 years.
He's a bona fide Hall of Famer. He'd be going into the Hall of Fame in the next few years. He deserves a proper send off. Not against Gunther, man. I'm sorry. Like, I like Gunther. I'm a fan of Gunther's. But the way he's been booked and betrayed the last while, I just don't like it. And I just don't like what they're doing with AJ Styles. He deserves a better send off than this.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. It's an absolute pain in the arse what they're doing, and I don't like it. But look, let's see. Let's see how it goes. Before we do, I'm going to take a couple of comments because. Hello, Emma. Emma is sorry she can't be there. Sure, she wouldn't be able to hear us. So, those of you who don't know, Emma does have a bit of an ear injury at the moment. You're doing great, Keith and Bren. Thank you very much, Emma. Absolute pleasure. I'm glad you're watching as well. And agreed, Finn should be his last match. Emma is with you on that one, my man. And Anto's in, yes, Keith, he says loudly. I agree using Gunther again after retirement after the Cena fiasco. You're dead right, Anto, and Keith, you're dead right. Again, another thing that was poxy leaked, and then here we are, right? So, Johnny G, my new favourite guy since he got rid of the deadweight Ciampa. Adios, Ciampa. Oh, I'm gonna read a big Instagram post. Piss off. I'm only messing. I'm only messing. Look, Ciampa's a super talent. I give him a bit of stick sometimes, and we don't even know each other, so I probably shouldn't give him stick. But anyway, Johnny Gargano was against Nathan Frazier. It was an all right match. I thought Johnny Wrestling's pretty good. The whole mask kind of storyline, I don't know. I think it's kind of got to go. I do think they should start pushing Johnny G up a little bit. That's what I would say about that.
I have nothing else to say about that myself. I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, like I don't know what they're going to do with Gargano as far as coming into the WrestleMania period, if he's going to be on the card or not, or if they're just going to wait until afterwards, after Mania, and then just everything's a total refresh, and then they might do something with him. But right now, maybe they're just stalling. Probably.
Well, good old BR says push Johnny G. I have a really good friend who lives in Australia, also called Johnny G, an absolute top bloke. But yeah, push Johnny G to the moon.
Would you put him back in the tag team division for the moment?
No.
Until after.
Absolutely not. Because the thing about it is, and he's probably already there, he can get pigeonholed in the tag team division. It's precisely why Matt Hardy wasn't super successful. He was super successful eventually, but it was very difficult for Matt Hardy to push through. And it's because he was pigeonholed as that tag team wrestler in the Hardys. And that can happen. Look at Animal and Hawk, look at it.
Jeff has more charisma, I thought, and he's a better athlete, to be honest. Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know. I think I think Matt creatively, Broken Matt Hardy was brilliant. I even think Matt version 1 was brilliant. He helped me create my first ever email address, which was Bren version 1.
Who's that with again?
Shannon Moore.
Shannon Moore, yeah.
Shannon Moore. So it was.
Fuck, you're really showing your age, Brennan. Like me.
Yeah, good old grandfather BR. I tell you, back in my day, which you know what, we're going to be touching on WWE 2K26 in a few minutes, because it's funny because it's touching on something. I actually played the original Attitude game, which we'll touch on now in a second. So, Drew McIntyre comes out, cuts a promo, no interruption, just gets the job done, gives us the Braveheart, and then hits the bricks and legged it. What do you think?
They're just trying to book him strong, and then just basically whoever he faces, because they don't know at the moment. Well, the way it's been booked, we don't know who he's going to face, but we know who's going to face. I think it's going to be Randy Orton because it's going to be a stellar opponent, and it's Royal Rumble, so they have to have someone big for a big match, like a big fight feel. It has to be Drew and Randy.
100%. No, well, I do think, again, I'll always say it, the best feud there would have been Cody and Randy Orton, the legacy storyline. I guess it's still there in the future for when he wants to finish up. Maybe Cody will be Randy's last opponent. But look, not Matt Hardy, Jesus, Mark Cardona. Matt Hardy's back. No, he's not. What show are you watching? One from 2003. Mark Cardona and Kit Wilson. There's a problem here, I think.
I just don't like Kit Wilson. I'm sorry.
I do. I think okay. So I think Kit Wilson has a lot of potential. But another, you don't like him, and it's probably because you've got that kind of, he was a tag team wrestler kind of bias inside you. I don't know, but there's a problem here. They have a match next week. Who wins? Somebody has to win and somebody has to lose. And unfortunately, if Cardona loses, it's just a continuation of his last thing. Yeah, he may be always ready, but he's always ready to lose. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you should
Whereas if
be. This is a different Mark Cardona. This is not like Zack Ryder from 10 years ago. This
no,
is a
I
different
understand.
version of him. So they should be building him up if
I
it's
agree.
for a US title or something. I wouldn't put him into the main events this quickly. But in saying that, if he loses, then what was the point of him coming back? What are you doing with him?
Come here, 100%. But then if Kit Wilson loses, he's a new character. Should they not be trying to push this creative idea that they've come up with? That's the dilemma anyway. And look, again, I thought it was very pain point numbers. Kit Wilson, you're toxic. Mark her down, and no, I'm not. I'm always ready. See you next week, maybe. So it was what it was. Come here, you touched on the women's tag team match earlier on. What did you think of it?
I thought it was a
So
good
this,
match. Yeah, I enjoyed
Julia
it.
and Kiana James wins.
Yeah, no,
What did you
look,
think?
I'm a big fan of Julia. I like Julia, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't like who she's with. I think she just should go solo. Personally, myself. But overall, like I think they're doing a stellar job with the women's tag team division. I really do. Like I like what they're doing with it. I do have my theory as well. Another one with Lash Legend. I think they will probably pull the plug with her maybe after Mania and push her to the moon. And then they could start off with Nia Jax as a feud, maybe. Maybe, I don't know.
It wouldn't
But
be a bad show. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I think they will pull the plug with horse sooner rather than later. I don't see those two being together in the next 6 months. That's what I'm thinking. As well as that, though, like it's refreshing, yes, to see like Julia being in a title shot. Instead it's not like Charlotte or Alexa or something, even though they've been doing a stellar job, But
Yeah.
it's interesting to see what they're going to do because I don't know what they're actually going to do at the moment. But what do you make of it anyway?
Yeah, look, I mean, it is what it is. I thought the whole US title debacle was a bit stupid, a bit silly, a bit kind of Tennessee back and forward.
Yeah.
Look, it was all right. It was what it was. You know what I mean? We'll see where they take it from there. But I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying. Well, I will say this, Keith. You've got more theories than Alex Jones. Do you know what I mean? The amount of theories you come on the show with. But don't get me wrong, they're bleeding deadly. And actually, as you were talking there, I was like, yeah, yeah, he's spot on. Yeah. So yeah, look, man, I agree with you.
It just got me thinking when I was watching SmackDown this week. Like a lot of things are just racing through my head. It's like because Mania is so close. It's like how many months away? 3-4 months away. Do they start to, they start with building with this the whole thing right now. Generally, so I think they will push Lash Legend to the moon eventually soon.
So come here, just before we go any further, I need to know what you thought about the slap heard around the upper tier. The slap that Sami Zayn gave to Drew McIntyre, right?
Oh, backstage after the priest thing,
you don't bring up the kids or whatever, and he gave him a smack. What did you like? Are you kind of like, you know what? This Sami Zayn person, he's actually all right, or are you still? You still see the welfare Sammy jump on the
I
dough
just
line?
see the hobo Sammy that he is, to be honest. But no, look, I like Sammy in the ring. He's a good wrestler in the ring. He can put on a very good match in the ring. I just think he needs a freshening up. That's what I think he really does. He in the ring, he's phenomenal. He can go with anybody. Like if there was like another dream match, I would love to see Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan or something like that if that happened. But I have no problem with him being in the ring. It's just basically he needs a freshening up, and that's what I have a problem with.
Alrighty, well look, let's touch on the main event: Damian Priest versus Trick Williams, and obviously Trick Williams.
This is my match of the night. I wanted to see.
Excellent. So it's your match of the night, and to be honest with you, not a bad contender at all. Mine was still the US title. What did you think of the whole thing? Orton is shown at the end with his arms in the air, which is sometimes a bad omen. If a wrestler's showing like that in the air, typically they're seeing lights the next night, is what I'd say about that. But what did you think overall? I thought this was really good, very well
Really
done.
good match. I was really, because I'm a big Damien Priest fan, and I'm starting to become a fan of Trick Williams as well. Stellar job. Now, look, do you know what? Trick Williams reminds me of Booker T. He has elements about him that reminds me of Booker T. I don't know if anybody else thinks that.
I've heard a few. No, to be honest, I've seen some comparisons online. I disagree personally, and look, it's all perspective. I actually think I love Booker T. Worst commentator of all time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Quacky
duck.
Oh
yeah.
He says,
Shucky ducky whack whack
yeah,
whack
that's
whack
it.
whack. Piss off, right? So listen, whatever, right? Worst commentator I've ever heard. And saying that, look, I'm sure I wouldn't do any better at commentating than him. So look, power to him. But every time somebody does something, oh yeah, come on, man, get over it. But I just think Trick has something unique, and I think he's out on his own. That's my opinion. I think Trick Williams is out on his own, and I don't really see. Okay, so look, there's nothing original and unique anymore, and he's obviously going to be like certain people. But I think, as a whole, Trick Williams is out on his own, and I cannot wait to see this man's future. I think he's going to rule the roost. But yeah, look, that main event,
good match. Ending was good as well. To be honest with you. For a split second, when Randy RKO'd Sami Zayn, I thought he was turning heel for a split second. But then I was thinking, yeah.
Randy Orton's to Steve Austin. Like, I mean, just because Steve Austin sponged you, that doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad guy.
Yeah, but
it doesn't necessarily mean. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean you deserved it. You were just there.
The difference in SmackDown compared to Raw, it's just like
at the moment. Yeah, it's night and day. But the head writer SmackDown recently stepped down, apparently, the Road Dogg.
Well, yeah, I'd said that today if it says he needs to go, because I think he's involved in the wrong decisions that's been
but now we're also having a conversation about SmackDown being the best over the last few weeks, and obviously he was heavily involved in that. So it's like, at what point do you start to draw the line, and where do you draw it? Like, he stepped down now, so let's see if there's a difference, and let's see what happens in the coming weeks. I think he stepped down. I'm not sure if that's been confirmed.
He did step down, apparently. Yeah, he resigned. Yeah.
Now, before we're going to do quick Saturday night. Overall, look, SmackDown was pretty good. Again, pretty consistent.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into Saturday night's main events predictions, right, and take some comments, I wanted to touch on this bad boy here. WWE 2K26 is going to have an Attitude Era edition. Now,
look, Ren, look who's at the front bottom.
Front bottom? Who's that? Oh, cool, Devon Dudley. I don't see any other Dudley. Anyway, so right, so listen, 2K26, right? I played the original Attitude on PlayStation 1 when it came out, WWF Attitude, and it was revolutionary at the time. If you have not played or ever seen or heard of WWF Attitude, YouTube it. Have a look at the graphics compared to what we have now, because I remember playing Attitude saying, "It'll never get any better than this. It'll never get any better than this." And boy, God, did we jump leaps and bounds. I'm excited about this. However, like with all WWE things, I don't want to jump the gun, right? I like the cover. I think it's cool, nice little throwback. But I do think sometimes with WWE games, particularly in recent years, they're overcomplicated. I do know the Island of Relevancy is coming back, and I know that wasn't a popular, or the Island Zone is coming back, and that wasn't a popular thing. However, if they do the Attitude Era right, and you know what, even throw in the old WWF Attitude as a spare disc that works on the PlayStation 5, you're onto a winner. Either way, look, I think this cover is deadly, and I'm very much looking forward to this. What say you, Keith?
I'm the same boat as yourself. I was playing the Warzone and even Attitude game when that came out in 1998, was it? Around that time, the two of them?
Warzone came out in 97, I think, and Attitude came out then 98, 99.
Yeah, stellar games for its period. And the thing about it is, you had to use your buttons and everything else to actually get a finisher.
You needed a button combination.
Yeah.
And then, no, don't get me wrong, when they brought in the one button finisher, I was like, get in.
But you had the button bash to get effective finisher, like, you know. But
pretty excited about it. Go on.
But what I think they need to do, like this is classic 2K, and I've seen it last time because the last time I played this game was 13 when CM Punk was at the front of it. So
WWE 2013 CM Punk was a red and black cover, and he was like this. Yeah,
great game.
I have it. I still have it. It's on the PS3. I still have it.
A brilliant game, to be honest with you. But since
some people argue it's a last good game. Go on, sorry.
Since they brought this back, what they should do is obviously the Islands of Reverence, the Revency thing.
The island, just call it, yeah.
The island, the island. I know they're kind of doing a bit of a refresher for that. I read up, so they're doing a bit of a different spin to it. So whatever that's going to be, I don't know. But what they should do is they should have a story mode for this, for the Attitude. If you want to relive the best moment of the Attitude Era and just play it that way, or create your own version of this. If 100%. It's like to say like it's Stone Cold versus Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 14, and you recreate that match and have it the way you wanted it to be. So do something different like that. I'm hoping it's not just going to be the Attitude Wrestlers in it and that's it. We don't get anything else.
We'll see. I mean, I think we're like I don't think it's any coincidence now. We recently had a 3 stages of hell match
and dumpster matches in it as well.
They brought that in. So let's see what happens. Look, the possibilities are endless. I'm excited. Let's see. And that's one edition of it. They normally bring out 2 or 3 editions. There was rumors CM Punk's going to be on the cover. So look, I'm not Johnny Gamer, but I do love wrestling games, and I used to love the FIFA games before they became EA. But that's another thing altogether. So Keith, I think we're both excited for this. One last thing before we go into Saturday night main event.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, that is our co-hosts, Keith and Dave, standing outside the greatest bar in Dublin, River Bar, just off O'Connell Bridge, under the Heineken building. Now, what you'll know is...
River Bar, Bren. I didn't know. I thought it was a food place. Sorry.
No, it's a bar. Yeah. Now, I would just like to point out to anybody that's seen this picture, they just got it wrong. They were meant to say River Bar number 1, and they just got it wrong, right? But this is Keith and Dave. Obviously, this is the Keith that we see, Pro Wrestling Weekly. And Keith, when I found out you were coming on tonight, that picture became a slide before you could even finish answering that question. Where you coming on tonight? So, but listen, come here and I tell you, I had to hold you accountable. But that's Keith and Dave outside of the greatest bar in Dublin, just under the Heineken building over O'Connell Bridge, SmackDown in the middle of Dublin. Anyways, we will leave that, but I just thought I'd share it.
Are you sure that's not just the River Food Service place now? It's not the River Bar.
Pretty sure it's River Bar, and I'm pretty sure you're River Barred. Because guess what? That poster's going in the River Bar. Money mess, of course. Money mess. I thought it was very funny when that came in. Right, before we finish up, before we take the rest of the comments, Saturday night main event is tonight. Obviously, Royal Rumble is next week. So a couple of things. Is Rhea Ripley and Io Sky beating Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez? I agree. I think Roxanne.
I was thinking of something else there, but no, I think it's going to be Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez, because I did predict Roxanne's going to have a really big year this year. I was thinking, would they give it to Rhea and Io and then have them drop the belt at WrestleMania, and then that's when Rhea's going to turn on Sky.
Maybe she'll turn on tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Or tonight even. Jesus. Undisputed WWE title #1 contenders fatal 4-way. Who's winning that? Is it Randy Orton, Trick Williams, Damian Priest, or Sami Zayn?
Randy.
I'm going to go with Sami Zayn.
Okay.
I see what you're saying, Randy, but I'm going to go with Sami Zayn. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Who's winning?
AJ.
I would agree. And last of all, this is a hard one to call. Jacob Rhodes. Jacob Rhodes.
Jacob Rhodes.
Can we play that back? Can we play it back? Jacob Rhodes. Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu. Who's winning?
No one. It's going to be a DQ. I think it's going to be a DQ.
I think that's the safest bet. I think that
because it doesn't harm any of them. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't harm whoever gets pinned.
Alrighty, let's take some comments. What happened with Tonga Nakamura? Yeah, look, the Tonga Nakamura thing, I don't know. I think they're just giving it a week's give Nikki Cross a damn match. I've said some of these. I'm a
Oh, sorry,
disaster.
Brian. You going with the same prediction as well? Sorry, with the
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
I
Randy
think
David
so.
Cody. Yeah.
I think so. I think it's a safe bet. I do not want AJ to retire against Gunther. I think Dave thinks he's going to finish in TNA. Sharon's in. Emma, she says, feel better soon. Today was absolutely whopper. We'll definitely be back in Bray again. She's talking about Fight Factory Pro Wrestling. We were there today. Absolutely phenomenal. Loved it. I'll put up a video on the Upper Tier channel likely tomorrow about how good that show was. I don't want AJ to retire in Saudi. I think he might be. Lads, I know Dom is raw, but with the IC title, says Anto, should have been vacated. The likes of Gargano, Penta, Cody to bump it up. Not a bad shout. Everybody thought Lash and Nia would win. It's a shock. Strange. That was from Bonkers LFC. Sharon's in. Lya and Lash are two powerhouses. Yeah, I would agree. I'm a big Nia Jax fan. Anto's in. I have to say, Keith is popping in for Emma was a great shout. Are you turning heel for Tuesday? Oh, maybe. Bring back the Spinner Rooney. Tell you what, Anto, the Spinner Rooney might make a comeback on the Upper Tier. Who knows? We'll spin that wheel. I hope they fix Cody's entrance as the turnbuckle woo doesn't match the song. All right, Anto. I'll have to rewatch that. But I'd say you're right actually. Win Liv and Roxanne, Randy, Sammy and Cody with shenanigans then after. Totally agree. Uh, For 1 AJ, 2 Sammy. This is Bonkers LFC. 3 Rayo and 4 no winner. So he agrees. Fight Factory is awesome. Really enjoy going to their shows. Dara, it was phenomenal today. Honestly, I really loved it. Looking forward to their next show. They have their next gen show next Saturday. Visit Fight Factory's Facebook website to check it out because um, I was talking to some of the wrestlers after the show, and they were saying that there's going to be shows. They're going to go on a bit of a tour, so there's going to be shows in Ballyferma as such. So look out for your local listings, as they would say. Now, before we finish up, like, subscribe to the channel. We have lots of content coming out. There's content being dropped every day. Keith is lashing the top fives out of it and some of the reviews, and they're brilliant, by the way. Dave is dropping some quality shorts. I dropped the odd short here or there. On top of that, we have a packed week next week. Monday is the football show with Niall and hopefully Mark. Tuesday, we should be back for Pro Wrestling Weekly, the anchor show of the Upper Tier.
We have a watch along on Friday, don't we?
Exactly. We have a watch along for SmackDown on Friday. And then on Saturday, we have the watch along for the Royal Rumble, probably most people's favorite event of the year. So keep an eye on the Upper Tier channel, like and subscribe. This is always an absolute pleasure to do. I loved doing tonight. Keith, thank you so much for stepping in. Genuinely a pleasure that we didn't have to put up with the other lot from Pro Wrestling Weekly. I'm only messing. I shouldn't have said that. We'll be back. We'll be back for Pro Wrestling Weekly this Tuesday. I'll be back with Keith. So like, subscribe, comment, everything, and we will see you all on the next show. As always, thanks a million. Good night and God bless.
Goodbye.